Yo, what is up, guys? One thing I want to talk to you today about that I've been thinking about a lot lately is what makes people change. Like, what is the determining factor? Because we're all interested in improving ourselves and creating an ideal life and whatnot, but what is it that actually provokes someone from the time they, are inspired to the time that they actually do something with that information? And I think about that often because with Sensophy, what I want to do is inspire people to and empower people to change, to live lives that they love, to, just increase their happiness, like all these great things. And I know that the people who come to Sensophy want to do these things, and lots of them do, but what is the determining factor that makes that change happen? And I look back at my life, and I look back at what it was that made me change, from the point where I was in a job that was great by a lot of regards, but by the same token, I knew there was more to life. I knew that there was more, and I didn't have the courage at the time to move forward, and leave that behind me. I didn't have that courage at the time, and I think what it was is that I wasn't in enough pain. Like, in retrospect, there was a time from like when I started my job, it was awesome. And then, a year, 2 years go by and it starts to, go downhill a bit. And then there's like that year of like suffering at my job where I'm like, oh man, I'm going to this thing again today, and that monotony, and there's no excitement. So I think what it was is that I wasn't in enough pain, really. And this is my philosophy, that in retrospect, and the reason that I really, really believe this so much is in retrospect, identifying it was the key thing for me, is that I don't think people change until the pain of the current situation is worse than the potential fear of the unknown. You know what I mean? So whatever situation we're in now, if we feel enough pain in that situation, we'll take a risk. We'll be like, fuck it, I'm gonna go try this new thing. Okay, I'm gonna go do it. It can't be worse than where I'm at right now. Literally. And I think that's what happened to me, is that I was just like, I cannot go into this situation anymore. I can't do that. Like, I don't care. I'll do whatever it takes. I'll just gotta get out of here. I need to grow as a person, and this place that I'm in right now is like holding me in. Like, I can't grow. I can't express myself authentically. I can't do, I can't self-actualize. I can't keep going on like this. So, that's huge for me. And I think people who don't change may just not be in enough pain. I think that there may not be enough pain. Like, life is too good. However, although it's not great, it's like maybe in that like medium between good and horrible, and like the suffering is just enough to like stay with it. But if the suffering got like just a little bit worse, people will be like, oh man, that's it, I'm out of here, let's go. Like, I gotta do something. So one way I think of dealing with that is to really, my cat is doing backflips over here, and that's not the solution I was gonna give you, but that could help also. Maybe we'll get a cameo of him later. So one way I think of dealing with that kind of medium stage between where life is good, life is really bad, and your life is not good, but it's not bad enough to change, is that we can project ourselves into the future. So imagine living a life that is unfulfilling for another year. Imagine what that would feel like for another year, or whatever the variable is, unfulfilling, or not in a meaningful relationship, or not working towards your dreams, or not engaging in your passions, or not being excited every day about life. Like, imagine living that, right, for another year. And then imagine what that would feel like. Imagine what your mornings would feel like. Imagine what your evenings would feel like. Imagine what the day-to-day would feel like. What would your relationships feel like at that point? And then, okay, kind of really embody that. Like, you could even close your eyes, visualize it, meditate on it for a couple minutes, and then imagine what it would be like in 2 years, right? What would your life be like in 2 years? What would that almost like unfulfilled energy in us, what would that feel like if it was just continued to be repressed and continued to be denied and ignored? What would that feel like in 2 years, or in 5 years, or in 10, 20, 30 years? Who would you be as a person if you just continued, or not you per se, but if a person continued to be at that place of, suffering, not enough to change, but not where they're excited in life, and they're just stuck in that freaking space. That space is lethal. That space is horrible. That's like, because that space is just, it's bad news, alright? I clearly have an emotional response to that space. So I think like just visualizing what that would be like if like life stayed the same in that monotonous, unfulfilled, unexcited, not happy place, right? And I think that what happens then is over time, like over 10 years, we start to suffer even more and more and more and more and more. But we're so trapped in our ways that we're so trapped in our ways that we don't make that change because we built these patterns in our lives and we cling to them because we think that there's some type of safety net involved in that. Whereas, as we spoke about, security is not about having things. Security is about being able to handle things. And ultimately, this investment, like what you're watching now, like learning about yourself, how to become a better person, how to be more equipped to deal with life situations no matter what they are, that's the best investment you could ever make in your life, ever. Like, what do you think learning about some like fashion for this decade is gonna help, you as a person? Like, maybe there's, some excitement that comes from that, and if that's your passion, that's great. But ultimately, investing in a new pair of shoes is nothing compared to investing the time in yourself, because that stays with you for life. Like, that's forever. This investment you make in yourself to really, live on purpose and to be excited about life and to learn how to deal with fear and stress and be happier and practice that. Like, this is shit that lasts a lifetime, So I cannot overemphasize like how pivotal that transition is to go from investing your time in other things to investing that time in yourself. Like, yo, I'm gonna figure this out. Like, no matter what it takes, this is my life. I'm committed to making it work, and I'm gonna do that. And there's so much empowerment that comes with that. That just once that momentum starts rolling, and once we start developing that sense of personal power, oh man, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. So I promised you a cameo from the cat, and he's waiting on standby over here. So before we say peace, before we throw up the deuces, all right, here he is, right here. Here he is. Got it? Good? All right. See you guys next time. And thanks so much for sharing the 12 Habits of Happiness. Yo, I'm so stoked by the results of that. And if you haven't seen it yet, make sure you check it out. If you shared it, thank you so much. If you haven't shared it, I would love if you could pass it on to your social network, your friends, whoever. And that is it. So I'm throwing up the deuces. Peace. We'll chat soon. Later.